After all these realizations, I suddenly got a call from my wife saying she made a huge mistake. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, My Wife Left Me for 3 months and recently begged me to take her back. I said no, and now everyone seems to be against me. I need some advice, strangers. And guys, this story is about a guy. He's 28, his wife is 27. He's been married for 7 years, got married ridiculously young, like 21 years old. Crazy. And literally the second they got married, put the rings on, went off to celebrate being married, immediately she was a bait and switch. She suddenly became deeply depressed, couldn't hold a job, and all she did was stay at home literally all day on the couch watching reruns of TV shows while he worked full time, came home, took care of all the household chores and everything, never did anything with his friends, and this went on for like almost 7 years. He tried to be supportive and loving because she's got depression, and she milked it for everything it's worth. And finally, one day, she leaves his ass. Okay? And you know what? He really did enable her behavior. And then he started realizing, hey, I'm liking this. I'm liking that she's gone. He started getting his life back together, and guess who's back? Guess who's begging for a second chance? And he's like, oh, hell no. I'm done here. This guy finally grew a spine. Problem is, now everybody's telling him he's the bad guy because he won't take her back, even though she's been taking advantage of him for 7 years. So we're going to go over here, guys, to show you, number one, they always come back, and what happens when you guys, number one, rush to get married too young. Rush to get married to a gal you barely know, and then boom, you see her true colors once the law is on her side and she's married, and you all know what I mean by that. And you can't allow bullshit to happen. Sure, you could have loved ones you care about that have various issues and stuff like that, like in her case it's depression, and clearly didn't know about that before. And sure, you can be compassionate and try to work with them, but there's a point where if you're too kind, too easy on them, they take advantage of you. You gotta have tough love. So somebody who's having deep depression, you do everything you can to get them help and be there, but you also you have to obviously kick some ass from time to time to get off their ass and get a goddamn job and clean the dishes and put away the laundry and other things. Like, it can't be all on you, because there are people in this world who take full advantage of you. And before anybody accuses me of not understanding depression, oh, I understand it very well, my friends. Runs in my family big time, as it does a lot of families. My grandfather had it really bad. My mom had it horribly. And I've had it throughout my life. But I've learned to deal with it, to see the signs, and get off my ass when I don't feel like getting off my ass, and not letting it incapacitate me. And in this situation, she let it incapacitate her, and he didn't give her the tough love that was needed. Or he should have kicked her to the curb a long time ago and moved on. But you'll see more about this as I go into the story. A lot of important lessons in this situation, and you're going to see how he handles this whole thing with her begging to come back. So it starts off saying, 7 years ago, I married to the girl of my dreams, Denise. We've been dating for 2 years before that, and it was like a dream come true that changed after our marriage. Smack! Dream come true. Well, this is going to become your nightmare, my man. And 7 years ago, you were like 21, and you out of your freaking mind getting married so young, but you're going to see. After our marriage, she constantly started feeling down and out of it, and eventually I got her to go to a doctor who sent her to a therapist, and from there we found out that she had depression due to things from her past that she was trying to forget. Oh, you married the damaged girl. This is what happens when you only know her for 2 years and you marry her. Now you got to deal with all her bullshit. Now, don't get me wrong, if she has genuine depression problems, that happens to a lot of people, and I have sympathy because it runs in my family, and I got it, and I've learned to deal with it when it hits me. But still, and you're there for someone that obviously is good to you, but still, you're dealing with stuff. I decided to be supportive as I could be. I took care of most of the housework despite working 40 hours a week, and told her to just get herself in order, and if she needed to talk to me, I would be there for her. Okay, well, that's very nice of you, but guess what? That's too much, okay? Depression is very tough, but you can be compassionate for a loved one, but you also have to give some tough love and say, okay, you can't just lay around the house moping around being sad all the time. You have to get off your ass. So I'm not doing all the housework. I'm not going to be doing all the work to support us. You need to help and find a way. If you need to see a doctor, fine, get a medication, whatever. Get your happy pills, but I can't do it all. So smack to him, I forgot to do that, for allowing this. Now watch this. It says, That was 6.5 years ago. Before she left, she was still depressed, and she basically only lays in bed and complains, does nothing, and we had no intimacy, no sex, no cuddles, no going out. My entire day was filled with work and housework. 6.5 years. He's paying all the bills, and she's laying around the house probably watching reruns of The Price is Right or Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, or whatever the hell people watching reruns during the daytime. Okay? That is when he's too nice. Okay, 6.5 years. He shouldn't have given her even 6.5 weeks. She's taking advantage of him. End of story. I don't care if this girl of your dreams became your nightmare, man. Day in, day out, I worked my butt off. Came home to a mess of a house and started cleaning up, starting dinner, and so forth. And at the end of the day, I was exhausted, and all I could expect was for Denise to unload more of her troubles on me and complain about herself, me, and everything around her. I could not even hang out with my buddies to get away from it because she would relentlessly call me, saying she was scared and everything. So I also had no social life, and I had time for it anyway. But despite all, I pushed through, hoping that sooner or later she would break it out of it and we could have a proper life together. As I loved her, and they say for better or for worse, and this was quite clearly worse. Probably the worst we would ever be. So I respect that he's sticking to his vows at least. Okay, but the thing is, he's too fucking nice. And I can't believe he doesn't have a family member that says, dude, son, brother, nephew, this is too much. 6.5 years of this shit? No fucking way. If she's not willing to make any changes, goodbye. It's over with. Life is too short. And he's in his 20s, for God's sakes. His life's just getting started here. She bait and switched him. She found her sucker, her nice guy, and now she's milking it for everything it's worth. And one has to wonder, is she getting it someplace else? He's not getting any as well. 4 months ago, she got a new therapist, and 3 months ago, that therapist suggested she needed time away from me as her depression started when we were married, so I may be the cause of it. Oh, you're the bad guy here? The moment she told me, I was crushed. I started doubting myself, blaming myself, worrying, but beneath all this creeping sense of having done everything for her, having sacrificed years of my life as a cash cow and a servant for her, to lay in bed, and this is my thanks. It is my fault now. But I rejected that feeling, trying to talk through it, but she decided to leave and stay with her mother, saying she needed time away from me and that I may be the cause of her depression and so forth. Honestly, the entire argument is a blur in my head. So after everything he's done, boom, she's out of there. Goodbye. End of story. And you know what? I'll be thinking, okay, we're done. I'm getting divorced. But the sad thing is, because she wasn't working and he took care of everything, probably, depending on where they live, she'd make out like a bandit. Guys, this is why you spend years getting to know your girl. This is why you don't get married super young. I know some of you are going to think my grandparents got married at 21, my parents got married at 20, and they live happily ever after. That was a different time period, guys. Nowadays, people don't have the maturity level at 21 years old, or whatever that is, that they did 50, 60 years ago. It's not even close to 30 years ago, for goodness sake. So no, you don't rush into marriage. I don't care if it's your dream girl. Now, we're just getting started here. He says, I spent the next month when she moved out calling her family, begging and humiliating myself to get her back. Smack! The hell's the matter with you? Showing more weakness. You think that's going to make her want to come running back into your arms, you crying and begging and pleading? Act like a fucking man. That's going to get you the exact opposite of what you want. You should be doing cartwheels and cheering that she's gone. Honestly, I was close to ending it all, so I was pretty hopeless at that point. But that month passed by, and as it passed, I couldn't help but feel relieved. I came home and it was quiet. I could indulge in my hobbies, which I had not done for years. The place was not a mess every time I came home. I could relax, and 2 months in, I even realized that I could hang out with buddies again, grabbing a beer, enjoying life, and slowly I started to realize I had been miserable this entire time. Yeah, remember your dream girl you were talking about here? Dude, look what all you gave up for her. And why the hell weren't you hanging out with your bros and having other things for yourself? Again, you can be compassionate, but you gotta have tough love. She didn't love him, not at all. Slowly that turned into more and more realizations before I realized I honestly do not love her anymore. I felt like my youth was wasted away. I could do much, much better than this. I felt like I was a caretaker of a handicapped old lady. Hell, I still looked good, and I went out and started once again gaining back my self-confidence. Women would flirt with me, and I felt wanted even though I did not even flirt back. Well, good for you. That can give you a little confidence boost. Just be careful. You don't need any girls messing things up now. Because meanwhile, he's still married. After all these realizations, I suddenly got a call from my wife. saying that she made a huge mistake. Hobag Handbook, Chapter 3. She was sobbing her eyes out and how she was an idiot for taking the therapist's words as fact and how she loved me so much. No, probably her parents wanted her to kick her out of the house. And she needs another sucker, her husband here, to dote on her and take care of everything. That's what's going on here. For a moment, I wanted to say, yes, please come back. But I couldn't. I just blurted out. I said to her that she left me and I was done with this relationship. Awesome, bro. I told her I would get divorce papers and told her I had wasted enough of my life and this final action of hers was the nail in the coffin. And I just dropped the phone, started crying for a bit, and then turned it and I started feeling liberated. Well, bro, that's all right if you're feeling sad and you want to cry and all that. Just don't let her hear that. But you're darn right. Look at everything you sacrificed for her, and you're in your late 20s, for goodness sake almighty. The issue now is that everyone in my family is telling me that I'm making a mistake, that I should take her back. Yeah, well, smack to your entire goddamn family. It's none of their fucking business. You're a grown-ass man. Have they been enduring what you've been enduring? No. Okay, that woman's been taking full advantage of you. That I owe it to her to try and make it work. Marriage is not always fun, etc. The thing is, I never had fun in this marriage. I can't remember the last time it was fun and wasn't miserable. We're both young and fit, and we never even go out. Hell, the last time we had sex was over a year ago. And all I am to her is an effing servant, and it seems that I'd rather live alone than spend one more hour taking care of her. But on the other hand, I doubt myself. Am I really dumping someone that is depressed? I feel horrible about it. I feel like a failure. I just need advice. Well, here's an advice. Smack. Knock some sense into you. Bro, you did everything for her. You went above and beyond the call of duty. You have every right to terminate this relationship. It has been all one side. She is a taker. She's a user. And again, I get depression. It will incapacitate you. My grandfather had it bad. My mother had it really fucking bad. And I got it too. I've had times in my life where it's impacted me and I didn't know what the hell it was because I was young and it shut me down and you feel like nothing, you'll never be happy again and you just don't want to get out of bed. I get it. But guess what? It also takes some strength, inner strength to get your ass out of the bed. And some tough love from people that care about you to say, I love you, I'm here for you, but get the fuck out of bed, jackass, and go get a job. And you get the point. You've gone way too far for this girl and you got nothing in return. So you have every right to end it with her and not take her back. But now we're going to go on to part 2 here and see where this whole thing plays out. It says here, let me start by thanking all the people who responded. There was a lot of insight, a lot of advice, and a lot of support. And while there was certainly a fair share of people looking for an argument, insulting me, making offensive comments, or trying to rope me into something called MGTOW, luckily the vast majority of replies were great and stuff I could work with. Well, guess what? The people that are roping you into MGTOW or R-Pill were actually doing you a favor, my man. Especially those who are in a similar situation and those who are in a said situation where the depressed party proved to give me some insight and I sometimes did not even consider. Also, I'm sorry for not being able to respond to everyone. Dude, stop fucking apologizing. This is part of your problem. I really try my best to respond, blah, 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 blah. Anyhow, he says, I ended up having a really good think about my entire situation. Trying to wait over whether I would be able to give her another chance to begin with, as despite my post would give it away, was actually something that I struggled with. I was a bit of an emotional mess after all, and honestly, I sort of lack control over my emotions, as you might have noticed in some of my responses. Well, dude, you've gone through a tough time, but you got to learn over time to be better with your emotional responses, because when people do things, make big decisions based on emotion, it tends to be something they deeply regret. So sometimes I feel nostalgic, forgiving, and nice. Other times I seem vengeful, resentful, and hateful. I'll admit that this is all me, and like I told some people in the messages, I was and still am not in the best of places emotionally. But I've been working on getting my own emotions under control. In the past few days, I can say I'm a better place than I was 1 week ago. But I'll certainly take some more time for me to recuperate from all this. Bro, it's okay. We're all allowed to go through tough times. But unlike your wife, you're going through tough times, but you're still, I'm sure, going to work every day. I'm sure you're still brushing your teeth and combing your hair and taking showers and doing what you got to do to take care of business instead of laying around let somebody else take care of your problems. Now, after what people were likely looking to see, what ended up happening this week that made me decide to make an update post. He says, well, after all that thinking, I decided regardless of what course I would be taking, as some people suggested, it would be my decision and my decision alone, not the decision of my parents, her parents, friends, or people on the internet, mine alone. A decision I would be the one living with at the end of the day. Don't tell me what I think you're going to tell me, young man. So I decided I would inevitably end up regretting it if I did not, at the very least, talk to my wife and get some closure. Smack! You mean give her the opportunity to cry and plead and tell you everything you want to hear for you to take her back. So that is exactly what I did. 2 days ago, I decided to invite her to our home to talk about our relationship, and what it would be going forward. Her depression and so forth, basically just to get it all on the table. Now, it'd be impossible to narrate this entire conversation, and honestly, it was about some very personal stuff, so I would not want to, even if I could. So I will instead try to break it down and give a summary of sorts. He says, we ended up discussing our entire relationship. I must admit, it was very awkward and confronting, as it was a lot of stuff, myself in particular, had bottled up for so long. And it was very hard for me not to start yelling. I told her I was exhausted. I told her everything we'd been trying obviously had not been working, and I told her I felt like a doormat. I told her that she was not the person I married. I told her these 3 months have been liberating for me. I told her I was tired of it all, and I told her that I felt like she wasn't doing anything to help herself. Dude. In this situation, if that's what he had to do to heal, so be it. But it's all true. She wasn't doing anything to help herself because she used him. And he's been having the last 3 months feel liberated, and he should feel good. I told her she was not doing anything around the house. I told her our marriage is supposed to be a partnership, but I felt like I was basically married to myself, and I was the only partner in this relationship. Essentially, I unloaded the stuff I've been feeling for many years now. By the way, he does a lot of run-on sentences here, so bear with me. I told her I had a hard time not regretting the day I married her at this point, and while I obviously really hurt her to hear, she told me she knew. She knew I was unhappy. She knew that she'd been anything but a partner. Yeah, she knew, but she didn't do anything to help you. A truly loving wife or husband, whatever the situation is, in spite of feeling so messed up and everything, would be trying to help or communicate they need help or something beyond what she's been doing. But no, she's been sitting on her ass watching fucking Dr. Quinn or Gilmore Girls or whatever it is all day and letting you work and take care of everything. She knew she was horrible about it, but she felt like whatever she tried, she ended up fearing getting better. Getting demotivated to do anything, and then when she left, she almost felt like she'd been burdened me enough, and that wasn't for her. But for me, that she went about the wrong way and ended up blaming the therapist as an easy way out. Oh, you mean she didn't have any accountability? There's a shocker. While it was true the therapist had guided her in some ways toward the decision she made was for the right reasons, but the explanation she provided was tailored to her, not to me, which was disregarding the therapist's advice entirely. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, she's a grown-ass woman, and she makes her own decisions, and I don't want to hear this horse crap. She said she felt guilty about it all, and that guilt was just making her psychological state even worse. Oh, yeah, I can tell how bad she feels when she abandoned you and amongst everything else. She said she hated seeing me go to work, coming home exhausted, and having to clean everything up until I just passed out, essentially. If that hurt her so much, then she could have gotten off her ass and done things to help you. At the very least, wash some fucking dishes, put stuff in the dryer, fold some laundry while she's watching freaking Charmed or Gilmore Girls. God's sakes. I'm going right through the 90s with all those shows now. 90s and 2000s. Which I might add is a massive step for her, as she never admitted this. But she started admitting a lot of stuff and apologizing for a lot of things in our relationship. She said her time away made her realize how much I mean to her and how much she took for granted, and she should have done better a long time ago. I still think her parents had probably kicked her out. That's what's going on. She's telling him whatever she has to tell him to get him to take her back. To which I told her I felt like I'd been enabling her essentially while I had tried to keep her on her medication and all that. At the end of the day, it was always me picking up after her, which probably made it easier for her to slip back into it all. Yeah, he was enabling her behavior, absolutely, and I agree there. She's taking advantage of him, but also has a fault in this. He was enabling. He was being too fucking nice. That's the problem. He wasn't checking her. What I tell you guys, nice guys always do two things that bad boys don't do. Number one, they never check their girl, ever. Clearly he was not. And B, they always put their needs ahead of their own, and they suffer. You heard it all. He's learned. I hope. Well, after hours and hours of talking, we ended up hugging for what seemed like over an hour before going back to talking, and she basically said she understood if I would not take her back, and she understood if I did not trust her to get better, and she understood that I was tired, but she asked me to give her one more chance, and she would do anything for it. Yeah, the whole I understand bullshit. Guys, I've been through breakups in my life. I've had girlfriends, short-term ones, long-term ones, things when I ended it with the girl ended with me, and I've heard this horse shit before. I understand, I'll change, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Do you think that things changed permanently, that were a problem? No. I have to admit, my mind immediately wanted me to go to the obvious option, which was not taking her back, not giving her a chance, but honestly in this discussion, she was the person I was once in love with. She seemed to take ownership of things. She seemed different somehow, but I also knew the risk coming with taking her back. You're darn right, man, but also I think she was kicked out and she's telling you what you need to hear. That'd be wonderful if what she's saying she truly means. And when I say she truly means, she doesn't just truly mean in the moment because she's feeling it, but she truly means overall, and is willing to do things to change and make up 7 fucking years to him. I want that for this guy, but I just don't buy it. I was not about to pull another Hail Mary, so I told her I'd be willing to give it a shot, but it wouldn't be like before, not at all. Smack! It will be like it was before. Maybe in the short term, bro, she'll do what she has to do to prove that she can do it, which shows she can do it if she wants to. You're asking for trouble, my man. I told her she'd have to prove that she was going to put in the effort first. But before we even could begin, first I told her she had to get a part-time job. I don't care what sort of job, whether it is at waiting tables or a clothing store or at some company, it is irrelevant as long as she made sure she got every single time she was supposed to go, look presentable when going, and make sure she did her best at the said job. Well, at least he's laying down the law, at least now. You mean to tell me this girl with bad depression is going to be working in a restaurant waiting tables? Do you know how demanding that is? I worked in restaurants for years. If there's anything that's going to give you stress, is waiting tables and dealing with people. Second, she knows I like going to the gym. As such, she will be going with me at least 3 times a week, get in better shape, get some exercise, but most of all, be busy in a healthy way. All right, I'll give him this. He's lying down the law. Get a fucking job, and your ass is getting in the gym 3 times a week. Third, she's going to help her parents around the house while she stays there. No more sitting in her room alone with her thoughts, groceries, dishes, vacuuming, whatever. She was going to make an effort doing it every single day. Fourth, as some people suggested, we were going to go on a date once a week. No more escaping. Not wanting to go outside, feeling self-conscious. No more excuses. Fifth, we were going to do couples counseling, and I know we tried before, but we will try again. So I will say this, I don't agree with what he's doing in terms of giving her a second chance. I think it's going to blow up in his face. However, I like the fact that he is laying down the law. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Good for him. He's taking charge. How long this lasts and how effective this is, we will see. But at least he's doing that and being the leader. And I want to know, I have a very hard time believing this depression that she has or claims to have was the first time. It manifested at 21 years old or whatever it was when she got married. Because typically it starts in childhood. 6, she's going to go to a new therapist, not lie about anything anymore, and do what the therapist tells her. Dude, saying a woman's not going to lie ever again or not manipulate ever again is like telling your cat not to ever meow again or your dog not to bark again. Good fucking luck there. I'm just being honest here. It's like telling a guy not to burp or whatever things we do that, guys do. 7th, if the therapist suggests medication, she's going to take them every time she's supposed to take them, and I will keep them with me, and she will take them in front of me. No more forgetting, no more not taking them, no more complaining. And if there are issues with that, we'll try different ones. Regardless, she is going to stick with it. Again, I like he's lying down the law, but dude, do you know how much shit you're dealing with here? And I get the whole sticking to your vows and sickness and health, better for worse, all the other things. But what has she done to earn all this? You're really dealing with, you're still going to be taking care of a lot of goddamn things, just keeping track of her ass. And probably she'll resent you saying, you're not the boss of me. You're not my father. I told her once we were doing all that, she can go to the next stage of repairing our relationship. But until she does that and keeps him up for a good few months, there's not a single chance I will continue our relationship. Okay, good. So she's on serious fucking probation. And so it's like if she can do this, good. That's nice. She's making the effort. But then again, it shows that she could have done it all along when she wants to. And yes, I know ultimatums are a taboo around relationship advice, but I don't think I have much choice. To my surprise, she actually agreed, and to my even bigger surprise, despite only having been 2 days, she was actually helping her mother and father around the house yesterday and has been looking for jobs. Her dad also says she seems a lot more cheerful. Yeah, probably because she's probably turned on that you're acting like a man and laying down the law, which is what you probably need all along. But you don't need that shit. Guys, you're going to do relationships. You need a partner, a lover, whatever you want to call it. That's an equal. That's going to be a good teammate on your team to help you and move forward in life. Not that you have to fucking babysit like a goddamn kid all the time. Now I know there's a long road left, and I know there's a good chance this won't work out. That I should not cheer too easily. But honestly, I'm hoping I get my wife back, and I felt I owe it to myself to at least allow her this one chance. Call me an idiot for giving her this chance, but well, perhaps I'm an idiot. That was my update. I'm not sure whether I'll make another. I'd honestly not even plan on making this one. I want to thank people who responded to my other post again and for their insight and advice. And I hope all you live happily ever after or something else. Ha ha ha. I can't believe he said happily ever after. Dude, this isn't a fairy tale. So, we can all laugh that she pulled her bullshit and left and he's living well and she's back begging him to come back. That's always fun to hear. Problem is, I think this guy, after a while, is going to be dealing with all this bullshit all over again. But I do like he's laying down the law, and I do wish him the best. I really do. But I'm just too goddamn cynical. Almost 46 years old. I've seen too much. Thousands of these stories I've covered, my own life experience, people I've known, to really think that she's really going to change in the long term. Hey, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe it'll be a Christmas miracle. I figure somebody deserves a Christmas miracle, right? And I hope it's this guy, but I don't think it's going to happen. So guys, let's hear in the comment section. Do you think she's serious? Do you think she's going to get better? Do you think this is going to be a long-term thing? Or do you think the second he takes her back and she comes back in the house, she's back on the couch watching reruns of The Price is Right and Gilmore Girls all day? What do you think? Is she going to change? Or is it going to be the same fucking bullshit? I like to hear your opinion. But something tells me, overwhelmingly, you guys are probably going to agree with me. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you come across a good story to share, email me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I definitely will when I get the chance. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.